Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we will talk about a very important part. This is related to DSA, this is also related to automation, and this is also related to your interview questions because in 9 out of 10 interviews, you will be definitely asked about this question on how to count the frequency of a string or a character. So so since this question has been asked many times, I thought of creating a video on it and give you as easiest explanation as possible and let you know how you can explain it to interviewer and exactly what are ways we can do that and what is the efficient one and which is not efficient one. So let's talk about the bad approach. So if you see in my screen right now, so I have created a class and let's suppose I'm calling it as a bad approach. But yeah, this is good. So even if you are explaining this logic and if you are confidently explaining this logic, this also gives a good impression. But what if you tell, okay, there are two ways we can do this. One is we can simply use a for inside a for, but we can say that that will take more time. It will consume, but anyway, what you needs to be done, it will be get done. So if you have a small data set, you can use it, but in case we have a large data set, it's better we follow the good approach, and we will come to that as well. So what we are doing in this approach, so initially I needed a data, so to show you that how much time difference it takes, so I have randomly generated around 100 set of data. Those are all random strings. So here if you see, I created a size of 10,000. Okay, data size, that is the size of data set, and we will want to have some 100 unique counts in that. That's why I gave you 100. This method we have put in outside the class here, and we are calling this, and this method will help us to generate the unique string. Okay, so but let's go back to our logic which we have to implement. Even I can add few hard-coded value here like Ram Sham 2 3 times, and I can run it. But since I wanted large data set, so I'm generating it. Okay, so now here till here I'm hoping that you understood. In the next line, we are now taking the length of that. Okay, that should also be clear. And now we are creating a boolean. So this will create an array to store whether a string is already counted or not. So I created a boolean array and called it as counted to see whether the what timing our code is taking. I have started a timer here, and that timer we will end as soon as our program ends. And now this is the place where our program starts. So in this program, if you see, I have used loop first, where I will iterate over each string. And I have used a variable counted I here. So this is Boolean. So it scripts string that have already been counted. So if we have some strings which are already in the counter, and if I want to skip, I will use this if method, and I'm initializing one variable count here uh, as one, and we have an inner loop inside this outer for loop, and this will now compare our current string with all others. What will happen? So first we have equal right j equal to I plus 1, j less than 1, j plus plus. So assume our first string Ram, and the second was Sita, like that, and then Ram. Okay, now what will happen? This Ram will get compared with Sita first, and if that becomes equal, automatically we will increment the counter. So for Ram it will become 2. But if it is next is Sita, so we will not be doing that counter for that. So it will remain same. So likewise, we will compare Ram with Sita, then with Ram for whatever else. So like this, till end we will go, and then finally we will have some count for that particular Ram, how many times it has repeated, and then we will display it here. Okay. Same way again, now counter will, it will be I, then it will be, right now it is 0, which is, it is here. Now it will be 1. Now it goes to Sita. Then it will compare again with the same list, and it keeps on incrementing the counter for Sita until we find whatever it is. So again, then we will display how many times Sita is repeated. In the same way, it will go to third, again compare with all this. So likewise, it will keep running, and in this way, it will make the time complexity to n square, because if we have 10 values, it has to go through 100 loops, right? So that's why it is O of n square, which is not that good. Also, if you read DSA, it will be good to have if we have a complexity O of 1 or O of n. O n square isn't a good way to write it. So let's try to run this algorithm here and see how much time it is taking. While our logic is right, but it's gonna take some more time than normal. So if you see the random string we had, so we are getting all the frequencies. So if you see string 0 repeated 108 times 26, so all these are randomly generated one. So till here, if you see, it has taken 49 milliseconds. Okay. Now let's follow the other approach. Other approach uses HashMap, and HashMap generally have O of 1 complexity. Here what we are doing, we are again using the same data set, same method I've used, similar kind of data I'm going to provide. So hence our input remains same. We started a timer in this line. I created a hash map of string and integer, and now this will store how many times our string is repeated. Okay. Now, if you see here, I'm using only one for loop. So last time I have used one more inner for loop, but in this case we don't need it. It will simply take the string. So if you see frequency dot put we have used, so we have put a for loop, and this will iterate around complete list of strings we have, and it will go one by one, and it will start adding it to map in this. And there is a default method in the map where you use get or default. What does it do? If it will not find any value, so we start with ram and there is no more ram available right now in the map, it will default it to 0. So now map will have key as ram, value 0 initial. Now it identify there is 1, so now ram 1. Next again it identifies ram, now it will do again plus 1, now ram 2. So like this it will keep adding. And again, the next when it will take let's suppose Robin, it has been there 4 times, so it will keep adding Robin 1, then 2, 3, 4, like that. So it will keep adding it whatever is already available, and if it is not available the default is 0. Okay, so this is how it will be done. And now we need to just print it. So first loop we have used to store this string and to get the frequency of it. The next loop we will use the concept of entry set. Entry sets store the complete map, and then we will iterate over it, and we will keep we will keep on printing entry dot get key. So since now it means it will take the key value which is like ram robin whatever we had, and entry dot get value, it will store the count, right? So something you can think like that. So it, since map stores things in key value format, and entry sets help us, this map dot entry thing help us to have this method available there, so you can utilize this method and get key and get value. Okay, so this is one another way, and this is called more efficient when you uh, try to process this string and find the frequency. So now let's see how much time it will take. So our last code took 49 millisecond, and this has taken only 24 milliseconds. So in this way this is more efficient, it has taken only half time. So you have to explain in this way, and if you give both solution, it's gonna give a good impression, and it also tells that how aware you are on the performance side as well, and how efficiently you can write it. There are more ways to do it, but these are the two common approaches you can explain during time of interview. And even when you code, and assuming that a dropdown has thousands of value and you want to process that data and find how many times it is repeated, you can use the hash map approach. So I believe, yeah, that's all for today. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And thanks for giving your time. I will again push this code to my repository, and I will give my GitHub URL, and you can use this for your practice. So that's all for today. Thank you. Bye.